Hi guys, my name is Prince Ichie and you're welcome back to the channel.
We have to repeal Obamacare.
What's your plan for Obamacare?
Obamacare is going to be repealed and replaced. We have a chance of killing Obamacare.
And we're going to get rid of Obamacare, which should have been frankly terminated long ago.
Essentially terminates Obamacare. I'd like to terminate Obamacare. That's what I said. We want to terminate Obamacare because it's bad. Look, but what we are doing is we want to terminate health care. We did terminate Obamacare.
Fought to repeal Obamacare. You are arguing...
Well, I essentially did.
What we want to do is terminate it. Real change begins with immediately repealing and replacing Obamacare. Obamacare is lousy health care. It's very expensive health care for the people. It's also expensive for the country, but for the people. It's lousy health care.
Do you have an actual plan at this point for health care?
Yes, we have concepts of a plan that would be better.
Still just concepts? Do you have a fully developed plan?
Let me explain. We have the biggest healthcare companies looking at it. We have doctors. We're always looking because Obamacare stinks. It's lousy. I am the one that saved Obamacare.
You did try to have your Justice Department effectively kill it, though,
No.
sir.
Kill it from a legal standpoint, but from a physical standpoint, I made it work.
Okay. I'm going to do my best. I'm not going to sane wash, but I'm going to try to sum up what just happened there. He has a knee-jerk aversion to it. He doesn't have an alternative. Concepts of a plan is not an alternative. He also wants credit for saving it, which he does is not warranted, but he's still trying to get rid of it, if you got all that.
Do you support Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
Affordable Care Act.
And why is that?
Well, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Obama, so I don't support him in the Obama things that he's got going on. I'm actually really excited for President-elect Donald Trump, so.
Right. So you don't like anything Obama does, and you prefer the Affordable Care Act?
Absolutely.
Do you support Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
I support Obamacare.
So if you were a senator and you could vote today, you would vote to keep Obamacare instead of the Affordable Care Act?
Yes.
Do you support Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
I guess the Affordable Care Act.
And why do you prefer the Affordable Care Act over Obamacare?
I'm not really sure. My girlfriend supports Trump, so I go with whatever she says.
What is the main difference between Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act?
One is you pay, and then the other one is Obama pays for you.
Right, Obama pays, pretty big difference.
Pretty big difference.
I believe that Obamacare, the premiums are too high, so people end up paying more.
Right.
So I believe in the Affordable Care Act.
And so the Affordable Care Act is more affordable than Obamacare?
Right, correct.
Right.
Which is obvious based on the name.
It's in the name, right.
Right.
Why do you like the Affordable Care Act more than Obamacare?
Because I don't like Obama.
But you like the Affordable Care Act?
Yeah.
What if I told you Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act are the same thing? And which plan do you support, Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
The Affordable Care Act.
And what is it about Obamacare that you do not like?
I just think that there's a lot of holes in it and it needs to be revamped. I think
and you think
hasn't been thought out.
You think the Affordable Care Act is a better plan than Obamacare?
Better, but I'm not happy with that either.
What do you agree with, Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
I'm more sort of towards the Affordable Care Act, but I'm also very sympathetic for people that don't have the ability to have proper medical insurance.
So the Affordable Health Care Act is still a better option than Obamacare?
Yes.
And why do you not agree with the Affordable Care Act?
Well, I think it's not really available for all.
So the Affordable Care Act is more affordable than Obamacare?
Just the name says it all.
Right. You would agree with the Affordable Care Act?
Absolutely. I think it's nice that everyone can afford it, and everyone should be able to afford it, but to force people to pay something and then doctors to make something, limiting their ability to do their job, that's kind of anti-American.
Right. So Obamacare is un-American?
I think it's kind of un-American to force people. What if they can't afford it? What if they want more coverage?
And the Affordable Care Act is American?
I think it's more American because it allows people to make their own choices on what they want and who they want to work with.
Do you agree with the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare?
The affordable.
And why do you prefer the Affordable Care Act over Obamacare?
I just don't agree with the whole Obamacare policy thing that's going on. I just don't agree with it.
And do you believe that an informed citizenry is essential to a democracy?
Yes.
So you disagree with Obamacare?
Yes, I do.
Do you think insurance companies should be able to exclude people with pre-existing conditions?
No.
Do you agree that young people should be able to stay on their parents' plans until they are 26?
They should be able to, yes.
Do you agree that companies with 50 or more employees should provide health care?
I do.
And so by that logic, you would be for the Affordable Care Act?
Yes.
What plan do you support, Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
The Affordable Care Act.
And why do you support that over Obamacare?
Do not like Obamacare. I don't like anything that has to be forced for everybody to buy. This is not good.
Do you think Obamacare is socialist?
Yes, I do.
Do you think the Affordable Care Act is socialist?
No.
Do you believe that Obamacare will eventually lead to gun prohibition?
Yes.
Do you know that Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act are the same thing?
They were the backbones of a political revolution. The voters who sent a message to Washington shouting, "Drain the swamp and repel and replace." For years, they were told to hate one thing above all else, Obamacare. But now, a stunning betrayal is unfolding. The very voters who put their faith in the MAGA movement are now facing a political nightmare, and they are furious. But not for the reason you think. Imagine discovering the health insurance that's keeping your family afloat. The subsidy that makes your coverage affordable is from a law you thought you despised. Millions of Americans are having the exact shocking revelation right now. They voted against Obamacare only to discover it's the exact same thing as the Affordable Care Act that they are now relying on. And now, the actual cruel twist, the very politicians they elected are barreling towards a government shutdown, a political game of chicken that could pull the rug out of under them. The subsidy millions depend on are now on the chopping block, held hostage in a fight they didn't ask for. The people who were promised protection are now the ones in the crosschair. This isn't just politics anymore. This is their health. This is their financial survival. And the backlash is just beginning. The story you thought you knew was wrong. The real story is a deception, a decade in the making, and is about to explode. So, guys, let's get into more videos.
I cannot believe in the year of our Lord 2025 in the United States of America there are people who live in this country who do not know that Obamacare was a slur by the Republicans for the ACA. I can't believe it. You know, the world used to think that Americans were intelligent and smart. But because of this TikTok, the world now realizes that Americans are easily manipulated, lied to, and they just absorb it into their brain. The latest is that because of the ACA, premiums have gone up. No, that's another manipulation by the Republicans. Corporations, United Healthcare, Cigna, Humana, all of them set the rates. Corporations. And how do they set the rates? They have what are called actuaries. Actuaries. And it's a game of like chance. The actuary calculates how many of you Americans will seek health care, what the premium will be, and how much profit they will make. Yes, that's how it works. It has nothing to do with the legislation. It has to do with GREED. This is what Luigi was trying to tell you.
So the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, is actually most important to the people that are living in red states. Florida, Texas, Georgia lead the nation in enrollment. Together, these three states alone account for almost 10 million people relying on ACA subsidies in order to be able to afford their health insurance. In Florida, 1 in 5 residents depend on the ACA. In Texas and Georgia, it's closer to 1 in 8. So when Republican lawmakers in Congress say that they're fine letting the subsidies expire at the end of 2025, they're directly hurting their own voters, their constituents. So if the subsidies lapse, people making around $37,000 a year in states like Georgia could see their premiums more than double. And that's the hypocrisy of it all. The very states that shout government overreach are the ones depending most on these federal healthcare subsidies. And healthcare isn't a partisan issue. It's a human right. It's a survival issue. And the people that will lose the most are the ones misled into thinking it's about immigrants or undocumented people. So if you live in a red state, please make sure you contact your representatives and let them know that if they let the ACA subsidies expire, that they will pay a price at the polls. The midterms are coming up.
Holy shit. I have been a skeptic from the beginning, but I think we're about to find out that the Democratic shutdown strategy was genius because the Washington Post just broke some news. And you're going to find out, even if you're not paying attention. But the health insurance marketplace just started showing people prices, even though open enrollment isn't available yet. What they found is because of Donald Trump, health insurance prices are set to increase by 18% this year. But that's not even close to the whole thing, because that 18% price increase doesn't include the subsidies expiring. Once you add in the cost that you're going to have to pay because Donald Trump's one big beautiful bill canceled the subsidies, the average annual cost for individual coverage is going to jump from $888 this year to $1,904 next year. That's a 114% increase in the cost of health insurance in 1 year. And if they find a way to preserve the subsidies, it will be exclusively because Democrats refused to let it go. And because Americans refused to buy the bullshit Republican lie that this was all about providing free health care for illegal aliens. Trump's approval rating has already plummeted into the 30s because Americans know that when the government shuts down, you should probably hold accountable the people who run the government. But that's just political accountability. What happens when Americans see that Donald Trump is demanding $230 million in grievance payments from the Department of Justice, while at the exact same time they're asked to pay 114% more for health insurance for their family than they did last year? Americans are going to realize that the Republican Party that once only cared about millionaires and then only cared about billionaires now only cares about one man.
Donald Trump may be beginning to cave on the government shutdown. That after a new poll shows that Americans across the board, including Republicans, want the subsidies for the Affordable Care Act for health care to be renewed. They're going away at the end of this year. Republicans are refusing to renew them. Democrats, one of their big demands for signing on to the continuing resolution, all the budget negotiations going on, is that Republicans renew the ACA tax credits. Trump and the Republicans are saying no. In fact, they want to kill the ACA. Trump has tried repeatedly and failed. And the new poll shows, let me give you the numbers, support for renewing the credits. Democrats 92%, independents 82%, Republicans 59%, and Republicans who call themselves MAGA 57% want them renewed. That's not good, but it gets even worse. Guess who voters blame if in fact the credits don't get renewed and healthcare prices, insurance goes through the roof? Republicans. 3/4 of Americans would blame Republicans or Donald Trump if the tax credits are not renewed. A whopping 81% of independents would blame Donald Trump and Republicans. And even among Republican voters, 40% would blame Republicans and Trump.
So where does this leave us? After a decade of political warfare over a name, we are left with a painful truth. The most potent weapon in politics isn't a policy or a promise. It's a narrative. My honest opinion, this isn't just a story about political irony. It's a massive failure in public discourse. A law that provides healthcare to millions was successfully branded as a villain for so long that its own beneficiaries campaigned against it. Now, the very system people relied on is threatened by the chaos they were told to support. The real tragedy isn't that people are finding out they were wrong. The tragedy is that they are the ones who will pay the prices for a deception they had no part in creating. This should be a moment of reckoning, a lesson that sometimes The most dangerous lies are the ones we accept without a question. So don't forget to hit that like button, share and subscribe, and see you on the next one.